Hello there, folks. Welcome to Arkosaurs Evolved. We are your hosts. I am Dr. Dino. Not an actual doctor, but I am a fossil preparator, and hopefully maybe a doctor eventually. To my right is the illustrious
Gojira. I'm a incoming master's student on his way to go to University of Bristol for my paleobiology masters.
and after him is the beautiful
I am Dino Dom, or Dominic. It doesn't matter because my name spoils the fun. I am the vertebrate paleo fossil prep intern at Harvard's Museum of Comparative Zoology.
together we are
The
The
Boneheads.
Boneheads.
the Boneheads.
That wasn't too bad.
I legitimately forgot our name.
You're leaving that in. I'm sorry. You're not allowed to cut that. All right.
Ugh.
And the first dinosaur we are talking about today is one that it has, in my opinion, a bit too much information about it. But it's
Well, that makes it a good baseline.
It is, but it's a one that you may all know. It is a dinosaur, and it is the glorious and, for some reason, indestructible Allosaurus.
One of my all-time favorites.
And we'll go over that more later, but indestructible is correct. These things are just absurd. We'll get into that more later.
Yeah.
But if it hasn't already been spoiled by the title and the thumbnail and everything, we are setting this experience in Ark Survival Evolved. It's a game all of us enjoy, and it has a lot for us to talk about. Because not only do they take inspiration from the real fossils, but from other sources. So we can get into some speculative so we get
Spec-evo.
So we can get into some speculative evolution and pop culture references, which should be a lot of fun.
So, what do you want to start with? Do you just want to get phylogeny out of the way?
Well,
Sure, why not?
I think that makes sense.
Or maybe
What is this thing, and what does its name mean?
Ooh,
Well,
I can do name meaning. Its name means different lizard, and the three different species mean fragilis. I believe means it's just fragile, right? Europus means I want you to guess where the from Europe lizard is, and Gemensai, I'm assuming that's named after someone.
The different lizard is such a fabulous descriptor of these things.
Yes,
they are built different, and that they are they're not built very different to a lot of theropods.
It is the quintessential theropod minus its. Well, I guess mention why it's called different lizard. I believe it has to do with its head, right?
I mean, did the type specimen even have a head?
I
well,
thought
it was because of its vertebrae. Like,
Oh,
its
its
vertebrae
vertebrae?
were different from those of other dinosaurs during its time of discovery.
That's like saying a Patasaurus is deceptive because it looks like a. Isn't that why a Patasaurus looks like a mosasaur?
I think it's tail chevrons.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Different lizard. It does mean it's vertebrae because the vertebrae were different than anything else that was discovered at the time.
That makes sense. It was discovered during the Bone Wars. Everything is different when it's the first thing ever.
Yes. Who named this beautiful man or lady, actually, in the case of this one?
A great man known for many things, also being an many things. Who is O.C. Marsh, also known as a great dismal swamp by his friends.
Possibly the less racist member of the Bone Wars cast?
Tiny, like slightly less.
I mean, he wasn't one of the leaders of the American Eugenics Society.
That is true. I think mind you, Marsh also won. So there's that.
Yeah, history goes to the victors and all that.
History and paleontology goes to who's ever a worse person.
Fair.
Oh.
Yep.
I think she disagrees.
Oh, real interesting.
All right. So we have its name. We know why it was named, who named it, but what is an Allosaurus, or perhaps an Allosaur?
Hmm. So, the phylogeny of this thing. So,
Oh, which
basically,
sorry, for any new viewers, what is phylogeny? Because this is our first episode.
Not real, but Gojira will get into why that's true.
Oh dear.
yep, phylogeny is the branch of biology that deals with phylogenesis, which basically means the evolutionary development of organisms and how they evolve and diverge from each other and all that jazz.
And then what is Allosaurus's phylogeny?
So, Allosaurus is a dinosaur, and basically, there are two main families of dinosaurs: ornithischians, which are the bird-hipped dinosaurs, and saurischians, which are the lizard-hipped. Ironically, Allosaurus is the part of the dinosaur family that includes birds. They're called the lizard-hipped dinosaurs, so take that as you will. And they are what we call theropoda, which are basically what we think of meat-eating dinosaurs, like three-toed feet, sharp teeth, walking on two legs, basically that. When they diverge, there's neotheropoda, which are the ones we typically think of with meat-eating dinosaurs. And then there's tetanurae, which are literally called stiff tails, which include everything outside of Ceratosauria and Coelophysoidea, which are the more early families. And under Tetanurae, there's what we call Allosauroidea, which is basically the family of theropods that include Allosaurus and a lot of its close relatives. There's Allosaurus, which is kind of its own thing, and then there's Megalus. There's also Metriacanthosauridae, which includes stuff like Metriacanthosaurus, and there's Carcharodontosauria, which includes stuff like Carcharodontosaurus, Giganotosaurus, Mapusaurus. And Allosaurus is
Some of which we will get to later.
yeah. And Allosaurus is kind of its own thing. And and I forgot to mention Allosauroidea is part of what we call Carnosauria, which is an extinct group of theropods that lived during, like, they had their heyday in the Jurassic and early Cretaceous, and they included stuff like Allosauroidea, megalosaurs, maybe spinosaurs, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Oh, that's a can of worms.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wait,
basically all the ones that like have three fingers, basically. All the big late Jurassic, early Cretaceous theropods.
I mean, we said it before, they're kind of your classic theropods. Like,
Yeah.
tell someone to picture a dinosaur, like a meat-eating dinosaur other than T-Rex, it's probably going to be Allosaurus.
correct.
Ooh, actually, related to the phylogenum, do we talk about the lost species of Allosaurus?
There's a few actually.
There are many.
They are actually. I do have them all here. There's 3, I believe. I may have lost one of which might be something else. Actually, no. There's technically 4.
The big one.
Yes, well, I'll get to him last. Oh, I do my camera. There's A. amplus, A. atrox, and A. lucasi, and technically A. maximus, but A. maximus might also be Saurophaganax. It's probably Saurophaganax.
Do not add us.
Yes. With Saurophaganax, I'll just mention because it's not mentioned here. The Lord of the Lizard Eaters. It's a big Allosaurus, maybe.
Or maybe something else.
Yeah. Just say that. But otherwise, really interesting. That there's been 6 species of this. Mind you, 3 still being real is pretty interesting, especially that is this one of the only dinosaurs that we have confirmed species from different continents?
Well, kind of an asterisk on that, because apparently A. europaeus seems to be or is it Europaeus or Europus?
Europeus, one of the two, yeah.
Well, the European one is differentiated based on provenance.
It is. Its skull looks quite different, at least the parts that we have of it.
Yeah.
At least according to what I've read, its skull is almost identical to Fragilis in the characteristics that matter.
Okay.
Then, though, to be fair, like, we don't have much of Europeus' skull, so
Yeah.
we can only make educated guesses.
Yeah.
True.
Oh,
But just from what I've read, it seems to be more of a question mark on if it's valid.
There is also one more thing about Allosaurus, is that it has absorbed technically 3 more dinosaurs in it. Oh wait, there's 2 more. Oh my God, there's 2 more. Sorry, there's 2 more species. Species. There's Allosaurus agilis and Allosaurus whitey.
Oh boy.
There's also Allosaurus tendigurensis.
That we don't know. That one out.
Like,
what is that? One's like a foot, right? It's not many bones.
I think it's 1 or 2 limb bones. Yeah.
It's a partial shin.
Yeah, that's It's not,
Yeah, it's the tibia.
The other things for Allosaurus, I didn't realize how many different things have been not named Allosaurus, but Allosaurus has absorbed. We have Creosaurus. We have
Labrosaurus.
Lambrosaurus. We also have Madsenius and Wyoming Raptor.
Okay, Madsenius is a fun name. I like that one.
No,
Yeah.
Madsenius Trux.
Trucks?
Trux. Trux. Trux.
Oh, I thought it was like Trunks, like Dragon Ball.
No, Trux.
Oh wow, that's a name. I'm sad that's not valid.
Yeah.
Madsenius, by the way, we're first Stunlock. The reason why it was named a different species in 1990 by David Lambert is because of the fact that, at least going based off this, thank God, it does have. This isn't making it up. Thank God. Wikipedia is great. It's not making it up. It's because basically, someone looked at U.S. I believe Lambert looked at USM 47334 and noticed that it had a weirdly long snout in the reconstructions. The reason why it has a really long snout in the reconstruction is that the person who did it just did it wrong.
Oh.
Yeah. And there's one more. And the reason why Lambrosaurus was like that is kind of goes into something else, is because of a pathological thing in its jaw, which spirals into why the fact this thing's invincible.
True. Shall we get into the unkillable dinosaur?
Oh yes, we shall.
Oh God.
Let's start with Big Al.
For reference, Big Al, or MOR 693, is a 95% complete, mostly articulated Allosaurus skeleton. This is pretty big, 8 meters long, which is not bad. The main thing, though, is that Big Al is, at the time, I'm assuming, was thought to be a bit weird and lucky of a find, and the more Allosauruses we looked into, it appears that's the norm. 19 of its bones were broken or showed signs of serious infection. Pathologic bones included 5 ribs, 5 vertebrae, and 4 bones on the feet. Several of its damaged bones show signs of osteometalitis, severe bone infection. And yeah, Big Al was a walking disease. There's no better way to say it.
The most notable issue Big Al had was the infection on his right foot, or her right foot, or middle toe. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back, basically.
Yeah, that's from what it is. I also have a list of
But-
every. Oop, you go first.
Well, I mean, if I'm not incorrect, it does still show signs of healing, even though it was
No,
such
yeah,
a scary.
Yeah.
it is like quite healed. There's
Like-
a large bruise. It probably stopped her from walking correctly, though.
Like, it was proposed that maybe she lived up to 6 months before she died with that
Yeah.
infection.
No, yeah.
Nutty. That's insane.
Oh God. So more things about Big Al. Pathologies on 5 ribs, 6th neck vertebrae, the 3rd, the 8th, 13th back vertebrae, the 2nd tail vertebrae, its chevron, its gastrula right scapula, manual phalanx, eye left ilium, metatarsus 3 and 5, or the first phalanx of the 3rd toe and the 3rd phalanx of the 2nd toe, and the ilium, which has been described as a large hole caused from a blow from above.
So, sorry, can we go through all that maybe a bit slower, and I can point out where all that was, because we
Yes,
just listed
okay.
you just listed
So-
a bunch of anatomy.
So yeah, sorry about that. I was just reading over the pathologies on five ribs.
Yep.
The 6th, the neck vertebrae. The 3rd, 8th, 13th back vertebrae. The 2nd tail vertebrae and its chevron.
Yay.
The gastrula right scapula.
Okay.
Manual phalanx 1 left ilium, metatarsals 3 and 5.
So manual phalanx 1, so one of its fingers, its ilium, so part of its hip, or ilium up here.
Yeah, metatarsals 3 and 5.
Metatarsals.
Yeah.
The first phalanx of the 3rd toe, and the 3rd phalanx of the 2nd toe.
Jesus.
And back to
Christ.
ilium. The ilium had a large hole caused from a blow from above. That's also not it, by the way. Yeah, that.
Okay, like, maybe not. Probably a bit bigger than that hole, but.
Oh, and also, there's more, by the way. The near end of the first phalanx of the 3rd toe was afflicted by what the fuck does this mean? Involucrum, which I'm double checking what that is.
Involucrum? I think it's
Oh,
like a
it's
fold
just healing.
of
Yeah,
bone caused during healing.
yeah. Which probably stopped it from walking. Mind you, that's not even like scratching the surface of Allosaurus and its invincibility, as other pathologies reported in Allosaurus include willow breaks and 2 ribs, healed fractures in the humerus and radius. Oh my god,
Mhm.
that's distorted of joint surfaces in the fruit, possibly due to osteoarthritis or developmental issues.
Wait, fruit, you mean foot?
Yeah, foot. Not I said fruit.
Fruit. Like, apparently,
We're not showing that on stream.
bones.
No. Osteoporosis along the endosteel surface of the tibia.
Okay, so like down here.
Yeah. Distortions of the joint surfaces of the tail vertebrae, also possibly due to osteoarthritis. Extensive neopathic ankylosis of the caudals, possibly due to physical trauma, as well as fusion of the chevrons to the centra.
So just a whole bunch of tail trauma is what I'm
Yes.
hearing there.
Yeah.
By the way, it doesn't even mention the best one. I'm on this list.
Oh.
Constipation of the vertebral centra near the end of the tail.
Oh,
Again.
I thought you were going to talk about the pubis.
No, that's not. I'll get to that one last.
no.
Amputation of the chevron and foot bone.
Like foot-toe amputation?
Yes, amputation of the chevron
amputation?
and foot bone.
What, did it
Okay.
bite off its own foot?
possibly a result of bites.
Maybe another Allosaurus did.
Yeah. Extensive exoterosis of the first phalanx of the third toe. Sorry, I can't speak. So if, yeah, exostosis. Excuse me, exostosis.
I mean, what is that?
I will
is
tell
that?
you what that is. Thank you for asking. Exostosis is, as I, known as a bone spur. Oh God.
Oh, like shin splints?
Yeah. It is when your bone grows another bone for no
Oof.
reason.
Ugh.
Yeah. Of the first phalanx of the third toe, ow. Lesions similar to those caused by osteomyelitis in two scapulae. Bone spurs in the premaxilla, ungual, and two metacarpals.
I mean, so my thinking is just I think all this to say,
I'm not
one,
done yet, by the
important for
way.
us to
That's the
note.
best
Well,
part.
just really quick, I feel it's important for us to note that we have a lot of these things. Like we
Yes,
have
we
at
do.
least 40 individual Allosaurus.
And a lot
Oh,
of them
yeah.
are
A
really
lot
good.
of them have injuries like these.
Well, I think it's probably because a lot of them are really good, too, from what I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, really well
Like very
preserved.
well
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the way, a bit more. A metacarpal with a round depressed fracture. And
But like it was shot.
yes. Yes. Which will get me into the second bit. Um
No.
Exosis of the pedal phalanx, possibly attributed to a infectious disease.
I think that's Big Al.
Yeah, that is. And actually, no. None of those are Big Al, by the way. Those are all just different things.
Oh, those are just other beat to hell Allosaurus.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, I don't know why it's not listed, but we do have an Allosaurus that was definitely punctured through the pubis, right?
Like the tailbone, I
here.
think.
No, the
Stegosaurus spike.
this bone, the pubis.
Is punctured through, and we know it's a Stegosaurus spike. Do we
It was-
find it with it, or does it just easily fit in?
It was a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which Al?
Like literally, like I could feel that 150 million years later.
Mind you, there's a few other things here, but yeah, like for reference, I'm probably another weird thing about Allosaurus is that unlike, at least not tetanurans, unlike Coelurosaurs, which most dinosaurs, and when you run, you get stress fractures. That's just what happens when you're constantly moving. Blah blah blah. It
Yeah.
appears it's very weird. Allosaurus has a significantly higher amount than most other dinosaurs we assume were runners and chasers.
Yes, and that has sorry, not to steal it from you, but that has really interesting implications for its lifestyle.
Yes.
Indeed.
Now, maybe so you did go through a long list of injuries, maybe to group them together. So we have stuff in the back, tail.
A lot of stuff with tail.
But we have
everywhere.
a ton in the hands,
And
The
feet.
the feet, and the legs.
Yeah.
It does appear
Now-
we only have one in the head, it appears. Oh, there's not a lot of head injuries, which is interesting.
So they probably
Also
weren't
just
like
setting the
facial
time
fighting
back.
like Tyrannosaurus were.
No, what I would assume based on some of these that they were biting the extremities, like the amputation of foot bone and tail. I assume these things probably didn't like each other.
Probably not.
Oh no, they were probably vicious.
Which is very interesting how it's depicted in here, but we'll get to that. It's very interesting because most theropods, even ones we have a lot of, don't have a lot of these things. So either one Allosaurus, we'll get to the lifestyle of it. Either Allosaurus has a really weirdly weak immune system, which is an interesting thing to find in the fossil records. Mind you, fossil records incomplete. I'm just guessing based on a lot. Or two, these things were weirdly reckless for a predator. Predators tend to be very cautious and not want to get hurt. It'd be very interesting that if this does show a weird behavior, that Allosaurus was strangely reckless.
Possibly alternatively, in transitioning the lifestyle a bit, maybe they banked on a really good immune system and were hunting something very recklessly.
Yes, which is, yeah.
So, little deep dive into the rock formation that Allosaurus is most well known from, actually, is the Morrison Formation, which, if you live in the western U.S., you live in the Morrison, or it's within a few miles of you. It is everywhere.
Yeah.
And in the Morrison, we find a lot of Allosaurus, but we also find a lot of sauropods. And a lot of those sauropods have Allosaurus bite marks on them.
So what does that mean, Doctor?
Well, I diagnosed this thing with getting beat to hell and back.
Yep.
And we have a bunch of huge animals in its ecosystem that are shredded to pieces by Allosaurus.
Yes.
And there are
I think you can draw your own conclusions.
Yeah. And they are animals that could easily knock an Allosaurus flat on its ass with a swipe of its neck or tail.
Or with some of the others, impale, or I don't remember what the tails are like of the Morrison and Ankylosaurs, but I'm sure it probably hurt.
Like, I don't think they have a club.
I don't remember off the top of my head. The other very interesting thing, it also appears that for some strange reason, Allosaurus has a weirdly high amount of bites from theropods, which leads to one of two ideas. Either one, these things are fighting each other, which I would subscribe for, or two, specifically it was preyed on by Torvosaurus and Ceratosaurus. It mentioned Ceratosaurus, which is very interesting for a few other depictions. But that could be interesting, the idea that Allosaurus specifically is going after the big sauropods, and then, let's say, for example, an Allosaurus gets injured in a hunt. Obviously, we have evidence for.
Yeah.
It would be interesting that the other theropods might actually take more precedent in eating Allosaurus.
So, like, take advantage of the injured Allosaurus after a kill.
Yeah, I could easily see maybe like one Torvosaurus specializing in Allosaurus.
Or like a Saurophaganax, like taking advantage of a dying Allosaurus.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'd never heard that before, actually. The whole bit about them having a lot of bite marks from other theropods.
No, yeah.
Like I know there are bite marks from other theropods. I just didn't know it was that common in Allosaurus.
Apparently it is. I'm looking at the thing now. I will see if there's. I'll do a bit more deep dive into if there's research papers about it. But at least from this, it says it has there's a lot of the bone assemblages have an unusually high occurrence of theropod bite marks, most of which can be attributed to Allosaurus and Ceratosaurus. But a lot of the bones in there are Allosaurus some of the time, which leads to either these things were cannibals or, again, they were hunted by Ceratosaurus, which is very interesting because
I mean, I feel you can take the or out of there. It could be both.
It probably is both.
It was probably both.
Yeah, bite marks in Allosaurus suggest probably some scavenging. But it could also, it does mention in here, which I do like, the reason why it could be a high amount of Allosaurus compared to like herbivorous dinosaurs, which seem to just be predation. It might be the fact that a lot of the bones are from the dry season in the Morrison, which.
Oh, that's the Cleveland Lloyd Quarry, right?
Yes, it's no, the one I'm looking at is the Might Get More.
Oh, there's multiple of these.
Multiple.
Yeah, I guess. Which could be a sampling bias on either end.
Yeah.
True.
Which, yeah, but it's very interesting. And do I want to mention the fact that this thing apparently bullies Ceratosaurus as depicted by every single media interpretation? Or does someone else want to?
I can do that.
Okay.
So, for basically in every media representation of Allosaurus and Ceratosaurus when they're side by side, 9 times out of 10, the Allosaurus basically jobs the Ceratosaurus. Like, he's basically the big bully of the block. And it wasn't until Dinosaur Revolution back in 2011 where the tables were turned and Allosaurus was bullied by Torvosaurus. So, in a dinosaur where it was bullied by Saurophaganax. That has some interesting implications of just
There's a lot of big theropods.
I feel it's for good reason that Allosaurus is usually called the Lion of the Jurassic.
Yeah.
Or often called the Lion of the Jurassic, because the environment's just so full of predators and big herbivores.
It's
like the African savanna might be the best modern analog.
Modern analog, yeah. I would actually argue that a better analog would be the Pleistocene savanna of North America.
Yeah.
True. True. Yeah.
Like, actually, yeah, that would be a better one because there were like, what, 9, 12 species of carnivores in Pleistocene America?
You have terror birds, you have dire wolves, you had regular gray wolves, you had bears, you had multiple different species. I think 3 or 4 different species of feline in general.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to include ground sloths being omnivores, probably. But
that.
Yeah. There's also herbivore-wise, you have bison latifrons, you have 4 or 5 different species. I think it's 4 different species of I can't not placoderm.
Proboscideans.
Thank you. I don't.
Yeah.
Pachyderm. That's what I was looking for. Be a proboscidean.
Proboscidean.
Yeah.
Pachyderm is invalid.
I know it's invalid. I know.
Let's see. There's Columbian mammoth, woolly mammoth, American
Mastodon,
and
there might not be one more.
There's maybe imperial mammoth, but that I think that might be like a.
Oh, I'm thinking of the hybrid. The possible hybrids. But no, yeah, it's kind of insane that. Actually, no, God, I didn't realize how good of an analog that is. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like that's like a perfect like mammalian analog.
It is, yeah. Where all of these, mind you, of course, there's going to be small things. We have small things from here. I say small, like Dryosaurus and Camptosaurus are huge.
Like they would be like huge.
There's Silurus.
There's Silurus and Ortholestes, yeah.
There's Gargoylosaurus, like one of the very first ankylosaurs, which was like tiny and didn't have a club, but still pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's very. Sorry, something just. Why the fuck is Marapunisaurus listed here?
Because.
Sorry,
we'll get to that with Titanosaurus.
What?
Yeah, we can get to that with Titanosaurus.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a Titanosaur, but it's definitely in that same size caliber.
It's a thing.
Drawing things back to Allosaurus specifically really quick. I do want to point out that I think the Allosaurus in this game has an interesting reference to an Allosaurus in another media or in other media.
Oh.
Now, unfortunately, the recording won't capture it, so we'll have to add it in post. But I am pretty dang sure that the Allosaurus roar in Ark is a reference to the Walking with Dinosaurs Allosaurus roar.
I'm going to have to check that myself. I didn't actually know that.
I think it's specifically the level up roar. Not the manual roar.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, if I don't know if you can look it up, but it sounds just like the Walking with Dinosaurs one. which I think is pretty cool.
If you're
No, it
gonna imitate an Allosaurus roar,
I would say that
so
one.
Yeah,
Um,
you know that actually brings up something that I wanted to ask. What is your favorite representation of Allosaurus in other media? I think that could be a fun
I
question.
have two. Color-wise, are we going over TV shows? Because technically, I have, I think, one game captured.
we can do any media.
Yeah,
Okay.
any media.
I actually think the Path of Titans Allosaurus is really good, especially Europus.
Okay, that's fair.
All right.
Yeah.
For
It's-
me, like color-wise and behavior-wise, probably the Ballad of Big Al
Yeah.
from Monkey and Dinosaurs. Design model-wise, probably like the most recent Isle Allosaurus, the one made by Fred
Yeah,
Weir. That
that's a
is
good
my headcanon Allosaurus.
I haven't seen the new one, but I love the classic one from the Isle.
It's really good. It's really good. I've
It's
seen
pretty
it.
good. But
Yeah.
Fred
Like
Weir can do no wrong.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, for me, first I just noticed the reins on the saddle like squish when it blinks its eyes, so I'm gonna watch that. But
Wait,
I'd say my favorite appearance is probably the Allosaurus from Dinosaur Revolution.
That's a good one.
That's an interesting. I have not heard that actually. Dinosaur Revolution.
The broken jawed Allosaurus. I think
it's
it's a
cool.
really
It's
cool.
really
design.
cool.
It's a really good design.
Yeah.
Like, though we'll have to see how Prehistoric Kingdom does its Allosaurus and
Yes.
Oh yeah.
it's automatically.
We also have to see how Dinosaur with the new one that's coming out. The one with the
new-
Ceratosaurs, yeah.
Oh yeah, that one like it actually has the same creature designer from Dinosaur Revolution, so
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
really good.
Yeah. I don't know if we're getting out. I know we're getting a Torvosaurus and we're getting
Stegosaurus.
we're getting Brontosaurus or Apatosaurus with the things on its neck.
Oh yeah, like
Ooh.
yeah, we can explain that in the Bronto video.
Yes, we'll go to
True,
deep
true.
with the Bronto
Bronto
video.
Smash.
Yes, that's the greatest thing
I
ever.
love Bronto
Um,
Smash.
Bronto Smash
But
is
when
so
it comes
cool.
to more modern depictions of Allosaurus, I guess the big one probably is Battle at Big Rock.
I adore Battle of Big Rock.
Other Jurassic
I
media.
am not a fan of Battle of Big Rock Allo.
I love it. It's so good.
I do not like it. It looks like a discount Godzilla 1998, as if Godzilla 1998 wasn't bad enough. But
I think in Battle at Big Rock, when it's in the dark and with the like New Ceratops, it rings Allosaurus to me so much, and it feels like an animal, unlike
True.
the Dominion one.
Yeah.
But
well, not Dominion. Do you mean the second Jurassic World movie?
Fallen Kingdom?
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
Fallen
volcano.
Kingdom. Yeah, no, you're right. Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Fallen Kingdom's Allo was bad.
Supposed to be a juvenile, isn't it?
Yeah, it was
Not initially.
Not
Not initially, it wasn't.
but
Not
after the
initially.
backlash over the design, they backtracked and said it was a juvenile.
Yes.
Oh.
The reason why it's not juvenile is because later on in Dominion, when it's shown in the cage, that's not meant to be a juvenile Allosaurus in the cage. Mind you, I don't think it's the same exact model as the one who gets hit by a meteor. Not meteor, a debris. But
No, it's a different one.
it's not great. But no,
It's
they've been listed as juveniles now.
Okay.
Honestly, like Fallen Kingdom's dinosaur designs in general, aside from maybe Carnotaurus and maybe the Apatosaurus are just bleh.
I am of the opinion that Dominion literally 50-50, not Dominion, Jesus Christ, I hate names. Fallen Kingdom is 50-50 in the middle of if it's an awful design or amazing design.
Yeah, for me
That's
it's
fair.
like 90-10 awful amazing.
Oh no, because the Carno and the Stygia are really good.
The Carno is good, but the Stygimoloch has that weird Jimmy Neutron proportion to his head. It looks so cartoony.
Mind you, the Stygia is meant to be a juvenile because that was done to be juvenile The city is meant to be a juvenile. I know that for a fact. I love it so much. He kills so many people.
I just do not like. And that
He
scene
kills
with
so-
Digimoloch, it was just so dumb.
Yeah, I love
Well,
him.
hey, we can get to Stygimoloch and Pachycephalosaurus and Carno
Yeah.
and Carno.
Yes, we can.
Fair, yes.
But no, yes. Do we have any more real life stuff, or can I go on to my rant about dermal armor?
What about the hatchet bite?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. Oh god, yeah, that.
So, well, let me set it up. So, Allosaurus, we've gone over its anatomy. We have a lot of specimens. We know what it looked like pretty well.
Mhm.
And we know that Allosaurus had an exceptionally wide bite for a theropod.
Very.
Like, I think
Fine.
it could go up to 70 degrees,
Yeah,
which
I think
is
it was like 92
massive.
and maximum.
It's
Seriously?
almost 90. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
was almost 90.
Yeah, like
Well, okay.
Lotenschlager, sorry if I butchered that name, 2015.
Yeah.
Oh wow, so that's even wider than I thought. But anyway, super wide bite and apparently fairly weak musculature on the
Yeah.
jaws, at least compared to
Fairly.
I don't know, like a Tyrannosaurus.
Which is,
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, very little things are going to be as strong as T-Rex. So
Well,
Yeah.
I'm still setting it up. It's
Yeah.
it's weak compared to like T-Rex, but it seems to have has strong neck muscles.
Yeah.
So putting
Yeah.
all that together, along with the very thin head, which you can't really see in this model, but
And big teeth.
the very thin head, it almost looks like a hatchet.
Yes. Now, this is a great example of paleontology, of the fact of this happens quite a bit of paleontology, where we will get, for example, the Eldritch Abomination that is Spinosaurus. If something isn't the best at what it could do, we immediately assume it couldn't do it.
yeah,
Therefore- yeah.
it's like, hey, like let's test our punching strength on this titanium wall. Ow,
I
my
guess
hand is
humans
broken.
can't punch.
That means we cannot punch things with our hands.
I guess humans can't punch. No, yeah. If this happened with Dilophosaurus too, but
Yeah,
if a theropod can't like crack bone,
Then-
which mind you, obviously these things weren't cracking bone. They
yeah,
obviously they were obviously ripping chunks out of things with their massively spread
they
teeth.
were hunting like 40, 50-ton sauropods with more meat than bones.
Exactly. So I would assume that these, but yeah, so the hatchet bite theory basically boils down to, hey, I wonder, also the idea that I think someone measured it, the hatchet bite idea basically doesn't work because on the way down, on most things, it would smack its lower jaw before its top jaw came down.
Mhm.
I believe it was
Mhm.
officially debunked.
Well, it could do that, or what it could do is it could only bite with the very frontmost teeth and put all that pressure back on the skull.
Yeah, and just snap it in half. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not a bad
No.
theory, too, but
But there's no like real modern analog for it.
no.
Well, actually, I can give a modern analog for
Oh.
what Allosaurus would probably be doing with its bite.
Oh,
Hmm.
Which, I mean, kind of ironic because another creature in the game is named for it, but great white shark.
yeah.
Believe it or not, great white sharks actually have a fairly weak bite. At least, well, I'll fact check that, but last I heard that a weak bite.
Yeah,
was
They
pretty
do
small.
most of their damage by just sawing with their teeth.
yeah. Which Allosauroids in general appeared to do that, specializing in large things.
Yep,
Yeah.
especially with one we'll get to later. Two
Yeah.
we'll get to later.
Yeah, great white shark. Its bite force exceeded 18,000 newtons. So
That's, I think,
With
strong.
great
It's not 88 million, but that's besides the point.
That's a reference, kids.
That's a
Yeah, we'll have to put like a disclaimer in the description or something. Yeah, we're obviously inspired.
Yeah. Go watch the Skeleton Crew. I work for one of them.
That is true.
We are completely and utterly original creators.
I don't know what you're
No.
referring to. I steal all of my ideas from everyone.
Well, speaking of stealing ideas, as I hop in this beautiful glowing aloe, and well, actually, I'll make the others follow me first. Shall we shift into game information
Yes,
we can.
as I fall through the ground?
again.
So what is it about the depiction of this animal in the game that irritates you so?
The fact that it has scoots, maybe. For some reason, Allosaurus, I went on a deep dive, which I will never do again, about skin. But Allosaurus' integument in this game is very interesting. I'm assuming you'll flash the image of the albinosaurus, really? Albino Allosaurus with the things showing that you showed us.
I mean, actually, really quick, I can just. Oh wow! Of course, you embed yourself. The orange one here actually illustrates it really well.
Yes, that.
I just love the like flying pose. It looks so funny.
But yes, so
this is the new generation of paleontologists, people.
It is. We're not far off from the other generations. Actually.
You get what you deserve, people.
We are all a bunch of people who didn't grow out of our dinosaur phase. If you think paleontologists are anything but that, you're just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're all massive nerds.
Yes,
we are mature.
But anyway, yeah, I think this one illustrates it pretty well.
Yes,
basically, all the dark maroon areas are those plates, right?
Yes. It appears that Allosaurus in this is a bit spec-evo. One, let's start with the head, because the head Allosaurus has hornlets. Now here there's two for some reason, and they're way too big. Fine, whatever, you can use it with keratin. The main thing is though, as you get down the neck, and especially on the back and tail, it appears it has these keratin or maybe even osteoderms on its back. Now, this led me into a spiral. What's the difference between a scoot and an osteoderm and dermal armor? As I've done a bit more research, double-checking myself, apparently there is a difference and there isn't. It's very annoying. But it appears these things are very similar to either crocodilians or armadillos in nature, where they have a bone, basically core of something. Before I explain the kind of difference, osteoderms are just a bone that you use in armor, and Ankylosaurs have them. Scoots are an osteoderm covered by keratin, kind of.
Or I was going to ask, do we think these big plates are osteoderms, or just like what are they?
I would assume, based on hours of research into, for some reason, the medical field, I would assume they're scoots. Okay, they're a bony core covered in keratin that appears what they are. I would doubt that entire thing would be bone. It'd be very expensive to make.
Don't have any skin impressions that imply something like this, do we?
We do have a few skin impressions, but nothing that suggests this.
No,
Yeah, we have like teeny tiny bits of skin impressions. We do have one from the dorsal ribs and pectoral region that had small scales. There's a skin impression from Big Al 2, the sequel, Electric Boogaloo, from the base of the tail. And there's also one skin impression from the mandible that showed scales about 1-2 millimeters, and ones on the ventral side of the neck that showed broad scoots.
That did show broad scoots.
Yeah. Like, probably not to the caliber of this, but...
You could argue this is a keratin could maybe get it that high.
Maybe.
You could. The other thing about Allosaurus in this game is that We mentioned that Allosaurus probably hated each other. In this game, they don't. It appears that due to, before anything, I'll bring back what I mentioned earlier about the fact that dinosaurs in this game have new scientific names. Allosaurus has this.
Yes.
What it's Stereotriba,
Let
right?
me check.
Aerotribus. Oh,
Stereotribus.
wow.
This proves my point, actually.
Allosaurus-
Yes, they hate each other.
Yes.
I didn't know these were here.
Well, this is perfect.
Oh god! Oh god!
All right. Well, this explains a few things. Thanks for the example. We planned this. Allosaurus, Theriotribus means beast tribe or feral tribe, which is very cool. But the main thing is that they appear to spawn in packs. Now, mind you, this is a game mechanic, but if we go more to spec-evo, it appears that because of the Allosaurus in this is not the biggest predator on the island, not by a long shot, certainly not the
Not even
strongest.
close.
So it appears that they have evolved to have a weird pack-like structure of one dominant. We could either say dominant male or female, and then two subordinates.
Mhm.
And now this does not appear to be in nature. I think the closest you can get is actually coyote packs.
Yeah, and like there's a whole like alpha, beta, omega thing that was discredited years ago.
I'm not sure. I'm the idea. I think a like dominant of one gender and then two subordinates of another. Would probably make the most sense.
Maybe.
Or
Like-
a loose
Or like a
gang.
nuclear family, like the parents being in charge and their adolescent offspring.
Exactly, yeah, nuclear family, yeah. Which would make sense for. I could easily see it evolving to have this sort of behavior on the island. As one, if you show the example of the Brontosaurus in front of us, it's a lot bigger, or a lot taller, I should say, than it should be. I think
Yeah, it's kaiju size,
Both.
it is, yeah, and
that's
some
nothing
predators.
compared to his cousin.
Yeah. And some predators in this being very large, to say the least. So I could easily have it be like that. Otherwise, it's a pretty good depiction of Allosaurus. It I believe is the first one to have a bleed effect, which, yeah, these things probably hunted everything, but you bleed them out or death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah,
I'm generally surprised. Oh, we forgot to mention this. Allosaurus has really good. I believe it has strong arms.
very strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
So, it was probably using its entire. It was probably not just using its face to bleed out, but it probably is the. I would assume what it would. The depiction from Allosaurus, I think it's Ballad of Big Al. I don't remember if it's Ballad of Big Al or Walking with Dinosaurs. But Allosaurus literally leaps onto a Diplodocus.
That was Walking with Dinosaurs.
Is Walking with Dinosaurs.
Yep.
I could actually imagine an Allosaurus might be maybe not leaping to that zoom, but literally latching onto a sauropod and just raking its teeth and claws.
Yeah, like flesh grazers, basically.
Which would fit with the injuries we see.
Exactly. Exactly. Your claw gets like stuck on a rib while you're dragging it, or you get dragged behind it. You just see like popping a finger out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Should
shall
we do
we
a
have a
little
more?
test on this Bronto?
Yeah. Shall we have a little demonstration
of murder? Yes. Yes.
Also, I noticed this when I was testing it a second ago. I think the bleed bite is the hatchet bite.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at it as, yeah.
Which, I mean, interesting little reference hidden in there, I guess.
Yeah. As you can see, the bleed effect in this game is quite gruesome. I love ragdolls. I love Ark ragdolls.
Yeah. They're funny.
Yeah.
Should we bully that little theropod?
I didn't realize how small Carno is until I looked at it compared to
Carno.
Well, I think the Carno is just about life size. It's just the Allo's super size.
Yeah. Allo's just like the bully.
Yeah, the Allo was T-Rex sized, almost exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah, that Carno's busy. We can leave him alone for now.
Yeah. But I think besides like in-game stats, which you can cover, Doc, I believe that's it, right?
Yeah, we got its pack ability, and
Bleed.
I will say it is too thick, but that's
Yes.
just a common
Yeah,
problem in
it is
dinosaurs.
robust. It is gummy.
Dinosaurs were very thin, especially in their face. Ark doesn't. Ark actually is the main thing. Ark doesn't saran. Well, that's not saran wrap.
Shrink wrap?
Shrink wrap.
Shrink
Thank you.
wrap.
Ark doesn't shrink wrap their dinos a lot of the time, which is very cool.
The aloe is kind of shrink wrapped, actually,
It is?
especially in the face.
Like, mainly in the face, but it's not
I
that
didn't- Okay.
It's like
Well, I'm used to literally
T-Rex.
being able
It's
to
not
like
that bad.
poke the fenestra. Is that
Oh,
another? Aloe? But
I mean,
no.
you can see it.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and the eye is really sunken.
Yeah, you're right. But
Also, it's weirdly dark for some reason, and I don't know why.
shadows. We're not playing an Ark Ascended, by the way, so it's not as pretty as it pretty as it should be. But sadly, none of us can run a game that would explode any of our devices.
Yeah.
Except,
Well, I guess if we're gonna go over its statistics really quick, how it holds up against other Ark critters. Well, first, maybe before that, should we go over its diary entry?
diet. Yeah.
I can read this out. What bad accent should I do?
All of them combined.
Little finger.
Smaller but faster than Tyrannosaurus, larger but slower than Carnotaurus. Allosaurus thalatribus is the island's resident pack-hunting theropod. While most aggressive theropods are relatively solitary creatures, Allosaurus lives in groups of 3. One Allosaurus is the alpha, while the others are its mates, or a beta male. Like humans find value in forming a tribe, the Allosaurus has evolved to hunt in packs. Its saw-shaped teeth leave its prey bleeding and maimed, making escape difficult. Once an Allosaurus slows a creature with its cutting bite, the rest of its pack quickly closes in for the kill.
It does, doesn't it?
Domesticated. Not everyone thinks a tamed Allosaurus is ideal. Those who appreciate speed generally tame Carno, while those who value raw stopping power tame Tyrannosaurus. However, riders of Allo tend to respect the utility of its alpha pack status, which, along with its bleed-inducing attacks and relative mobility, can effectively turn the tide of combined arms battle. So was that terrible enough?
That was perfect, actually.
That was perfectly awful.
One thing I do want to note, though, the description of Allo is wrong. Both the wild Allo, the description says that Carno is faster than Allosaurus. That Carnotaurus is faster than Allosaurus in this game.
Probably
That
true.
is false for both the wild and tamed versions.
It is interesting. I didn't know that.
It is.
Like, was it like nerfed or buffed
I
in speed?
don't know. I don't know if it was nerfed, but both the wild and tamed Carnos are slower than wild and tamed Allos.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I will say, if the wiki is to be believed, the Allo is also 15 meters in game.
That's massive.
Like, I mean, you said it was like exactly T-Rex, and
That's
T-Rex
bigger.
is like 12 meters, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
It appears
big.
that theropods can get, there's a maximum for theropods to get unless they start doing weird things like the Eldritch Abomination, is about 12, 13 meters.
yeah. Like,
And-
yeah, T-Rex, Giga, like
Mapu.
Pantera, Mapu, they peak at like 12 and a half.
Yeah. Hell, even
Maybe
Acro
15.
is like 11.
Yeah. Big Tarbo is like 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of size changes, I feel like if you shrunk the legs and the head, this would be a good Allosaurus model.
It would, yeah.
But the
It would.
legs are way too long and the head is too big.
Yeah.
But I think if you just fixed those two things, it would actually be pretty decent.
I mean, it's like a fine model
not
in of
bad.
itself.
It's definitely not Ark's worst design, not even close.
Yeah,
Not even close.
No.
there are way worse.
It's contemporary. Anyways.
Let's see. As far as comparisons to other creatures go, its only really standout stat is the damage. So it actually has pretty high damage.
And that plus its bleed makes it pretty good, especially if you have a few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you level up its stamina, then it's actually it's a fairly decent travel mount, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's decently fast for its size, but can fight off most things.
Yes.
Keyword being most. Lord help you if you meet its big cousin.
We'll meet the kaiju later.
We'll meet the kaiju later.
Foreshadowing is a literary tool.
Yeah, foreshadowing is a
literary device. Let's see. Anything else to go over? I guess. Overall, what do we think of the creature design?
Are we ranking it via the magical tier list?
Yes, although I have not created a tier list. I just realized I forgot to do that.
Oh, well, I guess we can record that later.
We are professionals, people.
Later.
This was completely planned.
Yes. Actually, thank God I need to leave early.
Oh, dear.
This might be cut out. Anyways, I'll start us off. I like this Allosaurus. I like it quite a bit. A good it may not be accurate, but is a good representation of just Allosaurus. It gives Allosaurus very much so. It's a bit shrinkwrapped, as I mentioned, a bit too big. I have grown to hate dermal armor, but that's not its fault. That's wording's fault and the scientific community's inability to have a shared name for anything, but that's a different story. But I like it. I give it A for Allosaurus.
A for Allosaurus. Okay.
All right. Honestly, I think it's okay. I think it's like Dom said, a decent representation of Allosaurus. Even if it is kind of monstrified, it does look more like a movie monster, but it executes that movie monster vibe better than other certain media that tried to portray dinosaurs as monsters. 65. And yeah, it is a bit edgy, it is a bit spiky. The osteoderms I don't hate, but I could do without. I don't really care about them. I think it would fit better on, say, a Belosaurid or even the big kaiju Gigazilla. But honestly, I think it's a decent rendition of Allosaurus. Not my favorite, but it's all right. I'll probably give it a B for Big Al.
Fair. I think I'm kind of in between you two because I like. Maybe it's a hostage situation because I had to bring these things into the world.
Yeah.
But I do like the Allo. It's fast. It's tough. It's honestly, I don't mind the spikes too much. They can be maybe a bit much on the neck, but that's part of Ark's design language. They like to go weird and spiky. It's not meant. Well, obviously we can draw comparisons to Allosaurus fragilis or Jamadsoni, but it's not them. It's its own species.
Yeah.
I think my only real complaint about the design is it's too big.
Yeah.
And it's a little too thick. So I think there are things it could improve on.
That's a normal Ark.
But overall,
yeah.
I think overall I'd rate it a high B.
And that puts it in high B. So
yeah, off to a good start.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
B for Balosaurus. Thank you for joining us, folks.
Yes.
Hope you had fun with this first episode of The Boneheads.
Yes, and Arkosaurs
Now we're
evolved.
gonna, yes, Arkosaurs evolved. Now we're gonna go spin the wheel and see what we get for next week. Wheel time. Wheel, wheel, wheel.
We'll
Hope you enjoyed that video on the
Wheel of Fortune.
Allosaurus, folks. Now we get to spin for our next creature. Are you two ready?
Yes. Ready when you are.
yeah, but yeah.
Alrighty. Let us begin. Arkosaur number 2 is...
I actually want to
Shall we?
fish. I want to fish.
Um,
That's not a fish.
Gotcha.
That's not a fish.
that is very non-fish, but it's an interesting creature, isn't it?
It is. It's spec-evo stuff. It's probably as an Arthron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
a
we won't know until
marsupial
we
is an
see it.
Arthron or something. So
Okay.
yeah, it'll be fun. Hi there, folks. Editing Doc here. I hope you enjoyed this first episode. We had a ton of fun recording it. Please do the YouTube things. Like, subscribe, share this with a paleo-loving friend, all that stuff. We're looking forward to the next episode, and we hope you all like it too. Have a good day.